Hi everyone, this is lesson 6.5, graphing linear inequalities in two variables. So linear inequality is, it's not just a line, it's an inequality. So since we're going to be using greater than, less than, and greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, then that means that we're going to be shading part of the graph. So hopefully you have graph paper today, or you have printed off the notes, or you have the note handout from class so that you can follow along, because we'll be doing lots of graphing today. So first of all, a linear inequality in two variables is the result of placing, so we're replacing the equal sign with less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. And then when you graph it, it's the set of all points that represent all solutions. So the set of all points that represent all solutions of the inequality. Okay, and to check solutions of the linear inequality, so say you have 3x minus 4y is greater than 9. So if we want to test out if 2, 0 is a solution, we would plug it in for 2 for x and 0 for y. Pretty simple. So 2 minus 4 times 0, is that greater than 9? Well, this would be 6, and that would be 0. So since 6 is not greater than 9, then this would be not a solution. How about in part B? So same equation, different point. So if we had 3 times 2 minus 4 times negative 1, is that greater than 9? This would be 6 plus 4 is 10, and 10 is greater than 9. So this would mean that 2, negative 1 is a solution. Okay, so how to graph a linear inequality? Something like what you saw on the previous page. Step 1 would be to graph the boundary line, which is just what you usually do. So you use the slope. So step 1 is to plot the y-intercept, and then step 2 is to use the slope to get another point, like we were doing in lesson 6.1. So you're going to be using, though, sometimes you'll use a dotted line and sometimes you'll use a solid line. So you'll use a dotted line for greater than or equal to, greater than or less than, because we're not including the line. We're not including the points on the line because it's not equal to. But you'll use a solid line for if it is equal to, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. And then you can test a point not on the dotted line by checking whether the ordered pair is a solution of the inequality. So often you will use, just ignore this part. And then you'll shade the half that makes the inequality true. So for example, if you have this line and it says y is greater than or equal to, that means you're going to shade above. So this would be above the line. Let's say it says y is less than or equal to. That means you're going to shade below it. So like if you were walking on this line, you'd be up here. So this part would be above and this part would be below. And be careful though, because if the graph is going down, then this part would be above and then this part would be below. And then, we'll go through some examples for other cases. So how about this one? So y less than negative 1/2 x plus 4. So first of all, let's just plot the y-intercept and use a slope to get another point. So let's plot 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the slope is negative 1/2. So that means we go down 1 over 2. And then you could go down 1 over 2 again. You could also go up 1 over 2 this way. And then, since it's less than, you're going to use a dotted line because it's not less than or equal to. So go ahead, and if you have a ruler, you would line up your ruler with the points that you made, and you can make more points in this to make a more accurate line. All right, and now it's time for the shading. So if you have a crayon or a marker, this would be good. I'm going to use this crayon. So if it's less than, that means we're going to shade below the line. So if this is the line, this part is below the line. Oh, not black. How about yellow? So I'm going to shade all of this, everything below. Everything below. So not just the line is what you need to do, but also the shading part. In Edulastic, there's a special way to do the shading, so you'll do that when you get there tomorrow. All right, so let's look at this example, 5x minus 3. So negative 3 on the y-axis, 1, 2, 3, and then a slope of 5. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. Up, I'm going to make another point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. Then I can also make a point below it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. Okay, now since it's there's an equal sign, greater than or equal to, that means that we're going to be using a solid line. So there's my solid line. I'm going to extend it this way a little bit. Draw an arrow on this end. And then it says, for the shading, it says y greater than or equal to. So which part is above the line? So the part that's above the line would be this part over here. Remember, if you're walking on the line, you'd be walking on this side. So that would be above the line. So I would shade all of this part. Now it'd be that inequality. All right, so here, graph the inequality. All right, so for this one, we're gonna need it to be y equals. So the first step is to move the x term over. I'm gonna subtract 4x. So I have 2y greater than less than or equal to negative 4x plus 8. And then I divide by 2. So negative 2x plus 4. And remember that with the rule for flipping signs is if you divide by a negative number. So we're not doing that in this example. We were subtracting, but that's not the same as dividing. All right, so this one has 4 for the y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4, and negative 2 for the slope. So 1, 2 over 1, 1, 2 over 1, and then go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So since it's equals, that means we use a dotted line, or sorry, solid line. And then I'm going to make my line a little bit closer to the points. Okay, and then it's less than or equal to, so we're going to be shading below the line, which would mean this way. So all of this stuff. All right. So how about y is less than 2? So remember to think of it as like replacing this with an equal sign. So it'd be y. What does y equals 2 look like? Well, y equals is a horizontal line, or y equals a number, horizontal. So that means we put a point at 2 on the y-axis and draw our line going horizontally. Now, since it's less than, that means we're going to be using a dotted line, and we're going to be shading below it. So there's our dotted line, and then our shading will be everything below it. Okay. And then if you have x equals, that's a vertical line. So we would put a point at x equals negative 3, which is right here, and draw our line vertically. Since it's equals, that means we use solid. And then Here's the tricky part that some people get mixed up on. If it's greater than or equal to, that means that we're going to be shading to the right. So this way would be greater than, this way would be less than, because it's going to the negative direction. So take your crayon and shade on this side of the graph, or this side of the vertical line. Okay, and then once again, I'm going to do this second one really quickly. This is a horizontal line, so y equals 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's equal, so that means we use solid line. And then it's less than, so that means we're going to shade below the line. So all of that. Okay, and for the rest of the questions, I'm just going to put those into an Edulastic. There are some extra questions on the last page. Let's see. You need to do this one. Write and graph an inequality with the points 2, 5, and 3, -5 on the boundary line. Okay, let's try this one. So I'm going to put the point 2, 5. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then -3, -5. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then it says, with 0.65 and -2, -3 as solutions of the inequality. Okay, so I don't know yet if this is going to be dotted or solid. I'm just going to go ahead and use a solid line for now, and then we'll figure it out later. Because it doesn't really tell us. But let's look at the points that they gave us. So 6, 5. So where would 6, 5 be? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So since this point is an inequality, that means that we're going to be shading all of what's below the line. So we're going to be either using y less than or equal to or y less than. It looks to me like this has a y-intercept of 1. So it's going to be +1. And then the slope is 1, 2, 3, or sorry, it's 2 over 1. Or you could use the slope formula for the 2 points that you were given. So the slope is going to be 2. So 2x, 2x. Now let's do this one, -2, -3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, well, since this point is on the line and it's a solution, that means that we're going to be using the less than or equal to symbol. Okay, so that's how you would do a problem like this. So it takes a little bit of reverse thinking to figure out what the equation of the line would be. All right, so I'm going to leave it at that. That is the end of this lesson. I hope you guys have a great day.